Now, you know when it's cold, because when Kay gets in from her walk, her lip gloss is frozen and her glasses are steamed up.
I'll tell you what. So all that's left for me to say, really, is... No, that's terrible. I need to do all that again.
Are we like Richard and Judy then? Who are we like? Richard and Judy, or are we like Eamon, Holmes and Ruth? Oh no, I don't think we're like that.
We're like us.
Welcome back, everybody, to part 2 of Kay's Handmade Christmas when I can't get my glove on.
Gave it a rub, finished it off, and Kay was like, oh, it feels a bit sticky.
Oh no.
So all that's left for me to say is to wish you... No, to say to wish you. No, that's wrong. That's what...
You will not believe what he'd rubbed on my back.
It was 2015. It was the night before Christmas. I'm stuck in the Dickens.
Yeah.
I've mashed my parsnips, so...
Today is the day you see Kay foraging in the wild.
What a woman.
Just like Ayla used to do. Welcome, everybody. My goodness, I feel like I'm in pantomime. That was said with great gusto.
It was.
To the Bakery Bears video show and the start of a brand new era.
Oh.
Yes. Longer ago than I would care to remember.
Yes.
Doesn't time fly?
Yes.
Hold me.
So old.
Everyone, I'm willing to bet 90% of the audience agrees with the statement that time flies.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's such a joke, isn't it? Because why does it speed up the older you get?
It does.
It's not fair, is it?
When you're sort of 15, life seems to go on forever, doesn't it? Days seem to drag on forever.
It would be fairer if it slowed down the older you got. But no. But no, that doesn't happen, does it?
No.
But yes, it was 2015. It was the night before Christmas. I'm stuck in the Dickens.
Yeah.
What the Dickens?
What the Dickens?
So, way back in 2015, we began Bakery Bear Productions. This became our job. And, my goodness, it's been a journey.
2015, gosh, yeah.
What we've tried to do every year is we've tried to improve what we do. Yeah, and we've done it in a whole host of ways.
We have.
From producing a magazine to obviously all the patron exclusive content that we produce.
Yeah.
And then we started, as then time progressed, we started to then start to invest in equipment. So we bought a drone, and that was when we did Walking the Dales.
Yeah.
And then we upgraded the drone. We also bought... do you know, actually, I remember the day, going back even further, because we started to do location filming. And that was never really... Well, nothing...
We started that really
everything was organic.
Early on, didn't we?
Oh, we did. What I mean is, it wasn't like a decision, let's go do location filming.
No.
Everything we seem to have done, really everything we've done has been organic.
That's true.
It's like growing vegetables.
It is.
And I remember I was stood outside the church in Fountains Abbey, that beautiful church.
Oh, yes,
and that
at
was
the top.
First, yes.
The church at the top.
We've recently actually reissued that in our favourite places to knit revisited series, and it was the first time we'd managed to, thanks to our amazing patrons who enabled everything we do, we've been able to buy some radio mics. So now, as time has gone on, more and more things have been purchased, and yes, the moment has come. This now looks like the set of this morning. I don't even know who presents that anymore.
No, I don't.
Richard and Judy.
Richard and Judy don't present.
They don't, but they did.
Did they?
Yes.
Right.
I'm sure.
Wasn't it the Irishman and his wife?
They took over. Years after Eamon Holmes.
Eamon Holmes and
years
Ruth.
after.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
But I've no idea who does it now. I don't watch the news.
It's probably Philip
really
Schofield and Holly Willoughby.
No, it's not. They do something else, don't they?
No, I think they do This Morning.
Do they?
Yeah,
I don't know. This morning?
I don't know how I know this, because I've never seen an episode, not since Richard and Judy.
I suppose
they were the best.
This morning, would you class it as a news programme?
It is a lifestyle show.
Yeah.
And back in 2018, when we launched our website, you told us we were a lifestyle show. Hence the reason why welcome to This Morning.
Are we like Richard and Judy then? Who are we like? Richard and Judy, or are we like Eamon, Holmes and Ruth? Oh no,
None of them.
Think we're like that.
We're like us. Look, Why am I waffling on? Because we have now ventured. Gone are the days of us looking down the lens of a non-professional camera. We ventured into the world of professional cameras.
We have.
Which is terrifying.
It is.
Because it's all light gauges and vector scopes, and what's empowered us to do this? Again, the best thing that we've done in the last few years is employ Jen, our amazing editor of Knitability. And there is a festive edition.
There is, and it's beautiful.
Of Knitability that is coming out on, I think it's the 19th of December. So don't miss it.
Just in time for a little festive read.
Yes, and Knitability is available to all our Make and Bear patrons. So if you are a $2 patron, $2 a month, get access to Knitability. And in this issue of Knitability, there is a sock pattern.
There is, and I'm going to show it. I'm showing you the project, actually, which you haven't seen yet. It's a brand new thing.
Amazing, amazing. So employing Jen freed up so much time. It freed up the time that enabled us to produce Walk in the Wall, and for you to produce 2 shows last year, and for us, we're going to talk actually, because this is our final show of 2022. Can you believe it?
Can you believe it? We're going to be talking very soon, isn't it?
I know. We're going to be talking through today a little bit about what's coming up very quickly next year, because it's very, very exciting. But Jen has enabled us to have more time to focus on the sort of production side of things. Yeah. And finally we got to the point where it just made sense that we needed to start using a professional camera, which is now what we're using. And so if suddenly you think, my goodness, I didn't realise they look like that... That means 2 things. That means, yes, I have worked out how to use the camera properly, which has been terrifying.
And we are this old.
Yes. I've been watching, like, YouTube videos and reading things, and because it's a whole new world. But, you know, it's going to be exciting. And it's one of the things we really wanted to do, because the series that we've got coming up next year are massive, and we wanted to film them in absolutely the best quality that we could. Yeah. But look, what's the show really featuring? Because this is our Christmas special.
It is.
Well, of course, it could only feature one thing. In 2020, Kay conceived Kay's Handmade Christmas. Yeah. She produced a one-off special. You loved it. So in 2021, we were back with a whole series. This year, the one-off special is back, but so is the sort of crafting. Yes. Because last year was all about cooking.
Oh, was it? Right, yes.
In your first one, I mean, genius. It was just genius. Candles, muesli, and tea.
That's right.
What an eclectic mix.
It was, wasn't it? It was good, though. Yeah, it was good.
Today, lots of you clamour, for some reason, you clamour to see Kay in the wild.
That sounds weird, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know. Today... I'm
like Ayla.
Today is the day.
I'm reading Ayla again at the moment.
Today is the day you see Kay foraging in the wild.
What a woman.
Just like Ayla used to do. Oh, yes.
She did.
So Kay's Handmade Christmas is coming up later on in the show. But look, as it's a Christmas special, it's a rare occurrence that I cast anything off.
That's true.
So,
but yes, he's got an epic thing.
As it's the Christmas special, I thought I'd better finish something good. And if you believe that, then you're crazy. I just happened to finish it at the right time.
It was pure luck.
It was.
I suppose.
Yes. She was about to defend me.
Yeah, I was. But no. It
was complete luck. But... I mean, talk about fortuitous. Yes, I finished the Alexander. Yes. Jumper time, baby.
Yes.
Let me tell you.
It's epic.
It has been cold here.
Oh my goodness, it's still cold. It's like -6 out there. I'm really bored with the cold.
Really dry cold. Not like the moist. Not like the moist cold where it freezes.
No, it's
just dry, hard
really
frost
dry,
cold.
Yeah, which is good for walking because it's still been fine to walk. We haven't had any snow actually. So lots of parts of the country haven't they?
They have.
Down south and Scotland, and we seem to be in this little bit so far. You know, we haven't had any. Well,
the reason why I brought this up is my Lopi jumpers have been out in force. I've had on my Rodari, I've also had on my anniversary, and now after you've seen my Alexander, I can guarantee you I'm going to be wearing this as well. And I tell you how I wear them, because they're too warm indoors. Yeah. So I put them on when we go out for a walk, and I wore it in -7 the other day.
Yeah, you did.
And okay, my arms might have been slightly chilly.
Yeah.
But when we weren't walking into the wind, I was actually toasty warm.
And you just had on the jumper. You had a T-shirt, the jumper and a body warmer.
I did.
Yeah, so, yeah, his arms just had jumper on.
Yes.
And I did say you're a bit bold going out in just jumper.
I know. But I thought I had to give it a go.
Give it a go, yeah, test it.
I think comfortable for me, I reckon sort of -3 and up.
Yeah.
I can comfortably wear a Let Lopey, which hopefully should see us through the majority of the rest of the winter.
Hope so.
So yes, I'm very glad. And I now know for definite, after wearing them a little bit, it's the first year really this year that I've properly sort of worn them casually. I definitely want another one.
Wow.
Just one more, maybe.
Just one more?
Maybe.
Because that's 3 you've got now, isn't it?
Yeah, 4. Nice even number. Hey, look.
And we'll have to review the colours that you've got and try and find something that you haven't got.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, you know when it's cold, because when Kay gets in from her walk, her lip gloss is frozen and her glasses are steamed up.
I'll tell you what, there's a lip gloss, and it's a really expensive lip gloss, and I love it. It's by Chanel, and it's called... I can't remember. It's in a long tube, but it's an expensive Chanel lip gloss, and I've had it for years, and I always get it sort of for Christmas as a treat. But I can't wear it when it's below 0. Why are you going like that? Like that? Why are you doing that?
Send a letter to Santa.
No, I'm fine. I don't need it. I didn't ask for one this Christmas because I've still got loads left. Because I've actually been using a different lip gloss that Bryony recommended to me.
Right.
This is not a programme about lip gloss. But anyway, no. It freezes. And if I wear the Chanel one below 0 and go out for a walk, when I come back, my lips are totally white. Because the lip gloss freezes. And
so the lip gloss freezes, and then she walks in the door and her glasses steam up.
Yeah, my glasses steam up. I mean, what a joy. What a joy it is, isn't it? Yeah.
Now, look, as it's our last show of the year, it's made me reminisce a little bit. And, you know, what a year it's been. You know, honestly, like, oh my goodness. You know, Kay's Cozy Kitchen.
Yeah.
My favourite colourways.
Yeah.
Walk in the wall.
Yeah.
But for some reason, there's one thing that stands out to me from this year, and that is this.
What?
I don't know what you'd be doing. I think you'd been crocheting. I'm not sure, but you had a really bad problem with your back. And Kay said, would I give it a rub for her? So I was like, yeah, no problem. So I said, right, I'll go get the cream from the bathroom and I'll give it a rub. So off I went to get the cream.
I don't know where this is going.
And came out and started giving Kay's back a rub. Gave it a rub, finished it off. And Kay was like, oh, it feels a bit sticky.
Oh, no. You will not believe what he'd rubbed on my back.
Shower gel.
He picked up the shower gel instead of the body cream. And he'd rubbed shower gel all over my back. And I'd just been in the shower. I had to get back in the shower. I was furious. I was like, what is this? And then I tried to I said, I'll just maybe rub it off with a towel. Yeah, and when I rubbed it foamed up. And then I said, where's the thing you picked up? And he showed me. I said, this is shower gel. Well, it wasn't. It was like the Dove.
Yeah, Dove
body wash.
Dove moist, nourishing silk.
Yeah, Dove body wash, which admittedly does look like, if you're not, you know, a lady and you might not notice these things. If you're just
a bloke,
if you're just a bloke grabbing something that looks like body cream.
No,
had to get back in the shower. Excuses.
It's been the first year where certain things have started to happen. When I've started to think I'm maybe getting a little bit older. You've always
put things down and forgotten where they were.
No, I don't mean that.
Where did you find your lime cordial the other day?
Under the sink.
With the
domestos.
With the washing up
with
liquid.
The bleach.
It's like, have you seen my lime cordial? I can't find it anywhere. I said, no. It wasn't in the pantry where it should have been.
I've always done that. But always done that. But one thing I've been able to do is technological stuff. Things like texting. Even though I've got big hands, never had a problem. For some reason, now I know that Apple's recently done an update, so I don't know if something's changed or if I've just got a bit older, but I can't seem to text anymore.
Text, yeah.
No, words.
Yeah, I mean, I do that a lot anyway. I do.
You don't use predictive text.
I don't use predictive text. I loathe it.
She types everything in manually.
I do. I can't stand predictive text because, you know, it'll say, it always changes sock to sick, for starters. Why? You know, sock is a word, isn't it? Why would you think I want to say sick instead of sock?
It normally learns how you operate.
I don't care.
Yes, I know. It's fine.
I've got no patience for predictive text.
I tried this fight about 10 years ago, and then I gave up because it's just not worth it.
I'll just type out the words.
Look! Enough frivolities.
Yes.
Do you like that?
Oh, I've not watched it yet.
Yes, not yet. We're saving up.
Save it for Christmas Eve.
Oh, look, I mean, all these Dickens references. Of course, we're obsessed with Christmas Carol, Charles Dickens in general at the moment, because, yes, we're partway through the Baker Bears Advent Calendar 2022.
Good, well, we're sort of over halfway now.
I know.
Yeah.
Today, it was an adventure.
Right.
And actually, this is the perfect time, because as part of the Advent Calendar...
Yeah.
You're doing a marvellous knit-along with your first
Yes.
platinum pattern of 2023. Every year, Kay releases a collection of exclusive patterns available to our gold and platinum patrons. And the first pattern of the year we make available to all our patrons just on Christmas Eve as a present.
Yes.
And this year she's doing a knit-along like you do every year for the last few you have.
Yeah.
And you wanted to show a little bit of that design.
I can show where we're up to. Did I say on the last show what the item was?
I don't know whether you did or you didn't, but let's have a look.
I can't remember if I did or not. So, yeah, the knit-along this year is a Christmas stocking. And it's Scrooge's stocking because we're all...
It's a Dickensian Christmas.
It's Dickensian Christmas, and the whole sort of thing was themed around A Christmas Carol. So, yeah, this is Scrooge's stocking. So I thought I would show you where it's up to. We've knit all of the leg now, and I'm not sure if you might have just got the heel to knit, but I'm going to show you all of the leg. And what I've done is I've put it into a project bag.
So you can't see what...
So you can't see the rest of it. And I've got two here, so I'm going to flip it one way, then the other. So this is Scrooge's stocking. Oh, isn't it lovely? So we started up here with this lovely lace. I want to say cuff. I don't know. What is it when it's a Christmas stocking? I'm going to call it a cuff.
It still is a cuff.
Yeah, with this lovely lace cuff. And then we've got a Latvian braid.
Amazing.
Running into...
Done properly.
Yes, done properly. Then into these snowflakes, and then this lovely colourwork section which depicts London town being reflected in the river, and then more snowflakes on the pavement, and then we've got some bricks for the chimney pots that he flies over, and then we've just done these trees, Tiny Tim's trees these are called. So this is the colour combination that people are seeing me knit. And then this is another one that I've made, that Bryony chose these colours. And they're all Blacker Swan DK. All of this yarn is Blacker Swan DK. So we've now just got the heel and then the foot to work on. And the finishing off on the last day. But isn't it fantastic? And do you know what's been amazing? It's a lovely big stocking. A couple of people were confused actually. I think maybe not all around the world, maybe Christmas stockings are not a thing. Some people thought it was a sock. But no, it's a Christmas stocking that you put gifts in. And I wanted it to be this great big stocking. So there's plenty of room to get loads of things stuffed in there from Santa. Just lovely. And it's just been fantastic. There's been so many different colour combinations, and some people were a bit concerned because they didn't choose, traditionally festive colours. But actually my favourite one that I've seen has been, I think it was cream, pink and sort of like a lilac-y purple. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And I think because it's a Christmas stocking, I think no matter what colours you put into it, it's going to look festive because of what it is.
It's fine.
So yeah, it's just been fantastic and everybody is just loving it. We've had such amazing feedback about it this year. And I got to do all this lovely colour work. I had tons of practice. There's a third one that I've knitted as well, which was the prototype.
That's my one.
And I made a few changes.
I chose that one.
Yeah, I made a few changes from the prototype, so that's why I'm just showing you these two. But I have knit 3 altogether.
Beautiful.
Just fantastic. So
that's half
stocking
of our Advent calendar, and then the other half is adventures. And today on our adventures, crumbs. I think we might be in the Minster today.
Ah, lovely.
And it's the first time I've been back in the Minster. It's either today or tomorrow. It's the first time I've been back in the Minster for quite some time.
Wow.
And I take you on a voiceover proper tour. I did it live. So camera filming, and I'm like talking, and like we go look at the pews, and we talk about the rivalry between the two sides of the choir when I was a choir boy, and we go and walk out and we look at the Five Sisters window, which is really amazing. It's just beautiful. You come out of the choir, you turn right, and it's there, on the right hand side. And that window was actually put in because obviously there's always work going on at the Minster, and that window was put in to celebrate and commemorate the amazing work done by women in the 2 world wars.
Wow.
That's why it's called the Five Sisters window.
Amazing.
And it is just gorgeous. It's probably my favourite window. That and the rose window, of course, which we also go and have a look at. It's Christmas. Kay snuck in an extra What's on Your Needles, because, of course, that is on everyone's needles right now.
That's true. It's off mine, but yes, it's on everybody else's.
Everyone else.
That
it's
is
been
true.
taught another section, and it'll all be finished by Christmas Eve, and that's when the pattern officially gets launched, and everyone that's a patron that day gets the pattern free. Look, you've shown one, so I think it's time that I officially ask Kay Jones, what's on your needles?
Yay! Okay, so I've got 3 Advent projects, to be fair, actually. So they're all festive themed, because we've got to do that, haven't we, on the Christmas show. So the first thing I've got is my Elfreda Socks, as I've called them.
No, I preferred it the first way.
Is my... It's because I was just looking at...
The first thing I've got is my...
I was just looking at one of the socks over there.
Beautiful.
So these are my Elfreda socks, and... These socks I did show you last time, but I'd only just got the cuff, if you remember. Now I've knit through all of one sock, and I've just got the toe to do, but I don't do the toes until Christmas Eve. So one sock is complete to that point, and then I've just cast on yesterday the second sock. And I've got today's yarn to show you as well. So I'll show you the first sock, and then I'll explain the sort of colours. Oh, look.
Gorgeous. The colours are great.
Aren't they nice?
Yeah.
So all of these yarns I dyed.
That's the best Advent calendar collection of yarns I think I've ever seen.
Well, you've not seen that many, to be fair.
No, well, I've seen a few.
Seen a few, yeah.
Well, it's gorgeous.
Well, thank you. You're very kind. Yeah, so these yarns, I dyed them all myself, and they're all themed on the book Winter Solstice by Rosamund Pilcher. And I gave them all a name, which is like a little line from the book. I can't remember all of them, but I'll show you today's and I'll tell you the name. But I know that this gorgeous purple down here, this was Christmas in Florida. This pink speckled is Great Mounds of Carbonara. This gorgeous coral is stationery shops were her favourite. And so it goes on, it's all little snippets from the book. This last sort of greeny, purpley colour down here, this was something to do with a tweed hat that Oscar wears. I can't remember the exact wording of it. So that's the first sock, almost done, and I've just got the toe to do, which is a day 25 sort of job.
Ooh! You were quite offended, weren't you? What calendar did you have? And it had a 25.
Gosh, my friend bought me a naked marshmallow advent calendar, which is fantastic. But there's a day 25 on it.
That's shocking.
I can't get my head around it. Because there's just never a 25, traditionally.
Only once in my life, and it was on an old-fashioned paper one. Right. And my mum got very excited because she found one with a day 25. And it was quite cool, but it needs to finish on day 24.
It's 24, it always finishes on 24. But no, I get a marshmallow on Christmas Day, so, you're not going to object about that. But it's just really odd. I was like, I had to stare at it, and I said, is that 25? What is going on in the world that they put day 25 on there? So that's my first sock almost finished. And then yesterday I cast on the second one in a lovely sort of silvery, speckly, it's sort of got speckles of silver and gold in it. It's really pretty. A great choice for, the cuff. I think it starts it off really nicely. So I knit that yesterday, and then today I got this one, and it's called Elfreda Set Horace Free. Now Horace is Elfreda's dog, and
not her husband.
No, she's not married, but No, she's not married. But she has a dog called Horace, and he's adorable. He's described as he's sort of variegated colour. I'm describing a dog like he's a skein of yarn. But he's shades of, I think he's described as shades of brown and white, and the brown looks like milky cocoa. So I had that in my head, and I wanted to dye up a colour that looked a bit like milky cocoa. So I got this, look.
That's perfect.
Isn't it lovely? And I think it does look like milky cocoa. So that's lovely. Horace, did you see?
Go to the foot of our stairs. That was perfect.
Dan's thrilled.
I love professional cameras.
If you knew, honestly, the stuff we've been doing to try this.
Oh, it's like weight removed.
Look, I'm going to do it again.
No, you'll spoil it now. It'll all go wrong.
There we go.
Oh no, it's gone wrong. You blew it. It was perfect where you went before.
There we go. I went too close.
Yes.
You see, we're still learning, but there you go. Beautiful, beautiful milky cocoa Horace coloured yarn. So that's going to go after this silvery colour, which will be lovely. Ooh, so I'm going to get straight on that and knit that into date. Now, I've managed to keep up with my socks. I'm fully up to date with my socks. I'm also doing another Advent project, which I am going to show you, and I'm almost up to date with that. I fell behind a couple of times, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. So yeah, I'm going to have completed Elfreda Socks on Christmas Eve. I might cheat and open my Christmas Day, because I do have 25 in this calendar that I've dyed up. I deliberately wanted 25 because I wanted me and my friend, I dyed this up for my friend also, I wanted us to have a little something to open Christmas Day as well. But I might open my Christmas Day on Christmas Eve because I really want to get some things finished up on Christmas Eve. So I think I might do that because I remember what the Christmas Day colour is. So, you know, I've not remembered. I did put all these in the little bags, obviously, and I dyed them all up, but I couldn't remember. Once they were in there, I couldn't remember what was in there. So it's been lovely opening them up. So yeah, that's my yarn for today. Lovely Horace the dog coloured. And I'm going to get on straight on that today and knitting. So Dan Jones, oh, what's on your needles? This is very exciting.
Look at this. This may look slightly familiar to you because this cuff is the same cuff, sort of, because it's obviously smaller.
Yeah.
It's on smaller yarn.
Yeah.
That's on the stockings.
Yes.
And what Kay did was on my birthday, I'm so lucky, on my birthday, because I've knitted a number of pairs of mitts this year.
Yeah.
And really enjoyed it. And I always want to knit mitts, you know.
Knit mitts.
Knit mitts. Pair of socks, pair of mitts on the needles all the time, winner. And so she designed me a pair of mitts for my birthday.
Mittens. They're mittens.
Oh, God.
Oh.
Look, stuff that keeps your hands warm.
They're full mittens with tops.
Yes, sorry.
Yes.
So Kay designed me these, and I opened up the gift on my birthday, and there was a pattern in there, and there was needles, and there was the yarn, and everything. It was amazing. It's just perfect. And I couldn't start them. Well, I could have done, but I thought I'm not going to. I'm going to wait, and then I can show them to you on the same show where Kay shows you the stocking.
Yeah.
And then it all sort of fits together. So, look, Latvian braid right on the bottom there.
Shall I hold it flat so you can see?
It's looking marvellous. I've got it right. It's not a Dan braid. Also, the lace, I'm just like, yes. And I'll tell you why. Because first round, it was tough. There was knit 3 together.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, though.
Yes, and 1 or 2 other tricky little stitches. But because I'd filmed the tutorials that go out as part of the Advent calendar, which teach people how to make the stocking, Kay had already taught me without me realising, by osmosis.
Yeah.
You had taught me all the skills that I needed to be able to knit this lace. So it was marvellous, sort of tapping into that information that was already in my head. Did 1 round, was challenging. Next time I hit that round, boom. Is it all fine?
It looks great.
Thank goodness.
I was looking at it because I lengthened it, didn't I? I put in an extra repeat because what I did when I designed this was I actually knit through 1 mitten.
turned it into a hand puppet.
And it was so funny, right? It was so funny. I showed it to Bryony. I was like, Bryony, look, I've made a mitten. I told her what it was going to be for. And she put it on her hand and immediately did this with it and made it into a little puppet. She was just laughing her head off. So I said, oh, do you want me to put you some eyes on it? Because I wasn't ever going to knit the second one. It was just like a sample knit. I said, oh, do you want me to put some eyes on it? She's like, oh, put some eyes on it. So I found some safety eyes and I put some eyes on it, and she's now got it as it's a little friend. I can't remember what she called it.
Love it.
Simon, I think.
So I'm really thoroughly enjoying this project because in my first experience with lace was the speargrass hat, and I loved it. I've always loved knitting lace, and I don't do it as much as I should. And so to sort of have a project with some stretching lace in it, I don't mean that literally.
No.
You know, technique, really pushing my technique. It's just great. That's the type of knitting that I really enjoy. Yeah. And then it's going into a textured body.
It's got this beautiful rib at the cuff, Latvian braid, and then there's just a simple, really pretty sort of festive inspired textured pattern on the hand.
Cool.
And the yarn is looking gorgeous, actually. It's our much loved Regia Merino Yak.
Yes.
In this gorgeous blue colour.
Yeah.
And then for the little Latvian braid, I just gave Dan a tiny little ball of the same yarn. I think this one's called Anthracite. It's just a really dark grey.
Perfect.
So it's looking gorgeous.
Yes, loving it. So that is my new gorgeous mitts. Yeah. And what are they called again? The patterns
they're
right
called...
Here. They've got a really cool name. It really appealed to me as soon as I saw it. Equinox Mittens.
Oh, Equinox Mittens, because they're a great in-between mitten. It's a full mitten, and it's the first time I'd designed a full mitten. You know, so I spent ages sort of getting that lovely rounded top and making sure the pattern integrated into the rounded top really well. The thumb gusset fits beautifully, or certainly fits me and Bryony beautifully. Yeah, so I thought the Equinox Mittens was a good name because it's fingering weight. It's a good in-between mitten for when it's not freezing -10, which is what it's been, maybe 0 degrees, perfect mitten.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I've decided, actually, I'm going to continue the Latvian braid live.
Oh my goodness, are you?
It's a bit scary, but you'll be showing your next project.
I am.
Kay Jones, what else is on your needles?
Oh, right, so this, I need my sock blocker again. This is I call it a design, it's more of a sort of little recipe, if you like, but it's a full pattern that I've written out. But this is the pattern that I've put into Knitability, the festive Knitability. And this is a pair of socks that, honestly, I cannot remember enjoying knitting a pair of socks as much as these socks for a long time. And I started knitting them in November, it was. I thought, I'm going to pull that yarn out. I've had it for about a year. I'm going to pull that yarn out and knit it. Not fully realising exactly how this yarn knit up. But what's made it a complete joy is I decided to put in just a little texture pattern, just for a bit of fun. Because I always find that socks, for me, go quicker if it's got a little bit of something going on. Plain socks, you know, are perfectly pleasant and lovely, and they've obviously got their place, and some people just love plain socks, but I think just that little bit of something going on spurs me to, you know, so instead of knitting 3 rounds, I'll think, oh, I'll complete a pattern repeat, and that might be 8 rounds. So I find that they go quicker. So it's the combination for me of the yarn and the pattern that I've put in, just fantastic. So here's the first sock, and I've called them the Hobbity socks because this yarn is from Moustache Yarn, and it's called A Very Hobbit Christmas. So I'm sure a lot of you out there will have this yarn and have probably knitted it up. But I bought it about a year ago, I reckon, and I didn't knit it last Christmas. And when I started knitting it, I started thinking, how many colours have I got going on here? And then it just dawned on me when I was sort of down here. I thought, do you know what? I think there's 24. I had no idea there was going to be 24 colours in this self-striping yarn. There's 24 colours. So it's like a little advent sock, isn't it? And I was so beyond thrilled when I found that out. And I've put in this really simple texture pattern. But what happens is, because the stripes are the fairly short stripes, I think they're about 3.5 rounds per colour, the texture sort of picks up in different points, and it just makes it look really cosy for starters, but also it makes it look sort of patchworky to me. I don't know quite why or what magical thing has happened, but it's just exactly the sort of pair of socks I could see a hobbit popping on in the morning. Oh, I just love them. So for the heels and toes, you can see it's like a sort of variegated yarn, and I didn't want to put in like a bright white or a completely solid colour, because you've got within these socks, you've got some of the stripes are speckledy. So because you've got that going on, I didn't want to just put in a solid colour, and also because there's so many colours running through, I thought, how on earth do I decide what colours to put in? So what I did was I found a mini, this is from Sherry Iris, it was in her advent calendar, one of the ones from last year, I think. I thought if I find a variegated or a speckled that's sort of neutrally but has got a little bit of something going on, I thought it would blend really nicely, and I think it totally does. I think it works really well, and I just love them. So I'm on the second sock, and I would have had these finished in no time, but I've been knitting on my advent projects as well, and plus there's a couple of things I wanted to get finished, so I sort of held back a bit, and I didn't work on these for about a week, and I so miss them. But now I'm onto the second sock, and I haven't quite finished the heel flap. I don't think I've almost finished the heel flap on the second sock, and they are matched because this yarn, not these yarns, I seem to have problems with singular and plural today, don't I? It comes in two 50-gram skeins is what I'm trying to say. So you can start at exactly the same point. So you can see they match really well. So I am going to have two matching socks. That generally doesn't bother me with self-striping. I don't care if they match. And in fact, I quite prefer it if they don't, because I feel like then the second sock is a bit different and I'm knitting something a bit different and not the same thing twice. But in this case, I just love knitting the yarn and the pattern so much that it's just a joy. And I think I'll have plenty of yarn left to maybe do some mitts with the same yarn. So I think I'm definitely going to do that, and I'm going to put this pattern in, I think. So yeah, this lovely simple stitch pattern and the rest of the pattern is in the festive Knitability. So you can all go and knit yourself some Hobbity socks if you want. And what I did, because I was so inspired by these socks and I just loved them so much, I had an end of year sort out of all my yarn, right? I got all of my boxes out, I had yarn everywhere, I had a real good rummage and a sort out, and I've pulled out all of my self-striping yarns. They're up here in this cubby, and I think next year I'm going to try and get some of these knit up. There's some moustache, all of these along the bottom here actually, a moustache, and there's a few other then. This one actually is this year's advent yarn from the Cozy Knitter, and I haven't, as you can see, I haven't cast it on because I've just not had time, but that's there for next year maybe to do. So I'm gonna knit myself Hobbity socks, I think, with all of that self-striping is my plan for next year. We'll see how it goes, but I just love them, and I hope if you knit yourself some up when you get the magazine that you enjoy them as much as I've enjoyed these.
Beautiful.
Yay!
Look, it's my lovely project bag, and inside I've got through a whole...
Oh, this is lovely.
I sound like I'm some sort of genius. I'm really not. Kay said to me the other day, I said, I've started the Latvian braid, and she said, haven't you finished it? I went, no. She said, it's only 3 rounds. Look, every stitch is savoured.
Look, we all knit at our different pace.
I'm not very fast.
I just sometimes have to be... I'm not a fast knitter. and it frustrates me that I'm not a fast knitter sometimes.
You are compared to me.
Compared to you, I probably am, but I'm compared... Oh no! I've just pulled off all my stitches.
Oh, no.
Oh, it's all right. Carry on talking. Okay. Carry on talking while Kate has a heart attack.
What a show this is, because you had Latvian braid knitting live, and I've got it right, and it looks great. And also now Kate's
I'm
picking up
rescuing
stitches.
my heel flap.
Yes, live on the show. Whilst I show you my Hadrians Cowl. Look, this section here is the one that I've just finished. When I saw you last time, I was down here. So I've knitted all the way through this section, and this section depicts the mosaic floors that used to be in Roman villas. And this section actually, it happens twice and actually joins together. So it is going to make some really gorgeous sort of motifs when you knit the second one through, which I'm really excited about now. So this was designed for me by Kate, and it was sort of designed off the back of the Walking the Wall series and the sort of enjoyment which we both got out of me making it and you watching it. And the colours are just perfect. I mean, they really do look just perfection. And of course I didn't pick them because Kate's brilliant at picking yarns and I'm not. Although I think I'm... No, look, I'm not even going to say it. Look.
But I really like... Colour is... I really like choosing colours.
You know, you should just lean into what you're good at. Some people are good at some things, other people aren't. And I'm rubbish at choosing yarn. So I let Kay do the choosing and I do the knitting. It's just great. I didn't realise... You know, historically, I've maybe gone on about, I like complicated knitting. I don't. What I like is engaging knitting, and engaging knitting doesn't have to be complicated. You know, colour work with great yarn, with some interesting motifs that change through a project, it's always going to be interesting. And that, for me, is that's a key element. You know, that engagement through the yarns changing and the motifs changing and all of that. And also, as well, colour work, it's like I think you could, I don't know. You know, but I was going to say you could probably be knitting it for years and still be learning
about
so, tension and gauge and making everything look as nice as it possibly can. But, you know...
It looks amazing. It's beautiful.
It's such a great pattern to knit. Thoroughly enjoying it. And, I'm looking forward now to getting into the second part of the...
Yeah, because there's another repeat of this lovely
So looking forward to getting into that and seeing how it joins together.
Floor motif.
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's Regia Merino Yak again, did you say?
Yes. We knit it because we love it.
Yes. We're not sponsored by anyone.
I hope everyone remembers one of the founding cornerstones of Bakery Bear Productions was we set up, our little business in a way where we have no advertising at all anywhere. We don't accept any donations with regards to yarn, for favourable reviews. Anything we knit with, we pay for because it supports the industry, which is so important to us. And another thing which I think is just amazing is, we spoke at the start of the show how we started back in 2015 and times have changed, have they not, ladies and gentlemen, with regards to, how much things cost in the world. And since 2015, the day we started, we've never once put up our charges. No.
And I don't think I've raised my pattern prices in... I don't know if I have... Years and years and years, I haven't raised my pattern prices.
Because it's about, it's about fair...
It is about, and remaining accessible.
Yes. We want to, in everything that we do, we want it to be as accessible as possible, whilst being realistic that this costs money.
That's gorgeous.
Thank you very much.
I love that. Can't wait to wear it.
What else is on your needles?
So, this is a cowl. So the last thing on my needles is also a cowl, and this is my Advent cowl. So I'm knitting this at the same time as knitting my socks. So I've got all of my paper bags in there. I've kept them all, just in case I want to refresh my memory on what they're called, all of the colourway names. So I've got all those in there. And here's my cowl. So I'm just, I think, a round and a half of yesterday's away from finishing that section. So I'm almost up to date, and I'll finish that bit very quickly before, obviously, I'll probably finish that before I start knitting my socks. But look how lovely it looks.
Wow. That's so cool.
Yeah, isn't it pretty?
Yes. Oh, my goodness.
When I dyed these yarns, I really wanted it to be something really fun and, full of colour. Yeah, so I'm loving it. And for this cowl, my obsession with 1x1 rib does continue. You'll be pleased to know, or not pleased to know, or astounded, I'm sure. So this cowl does have an element of 1x1 rib in it. I put some 1x1 into the bottom rib, and actually I'm thinking now that this rib that I chose doesn't actually flow as nicely as I would want it to into the body of the cowl. So when I come to do the rib at the top, I'm going to change this slightly, because if I want to ever knit another one of these, I will have already sort of figured out which rib is nicest. So I'm just going to alter that slightly when I do the rib at the other end. But then I've separated each of the colours with a little 1x1 feature going across, and I think that just looks lovely, and it really defines the colours, I think, as well. I'm so enjoying it. And I'm knitting this normally with cowls. I think I usually do them on 3.25mm, but for this one I decided to use 3mm just to give me a slightly denser gauge, so maybe it's a little bit more snuggly. And also I thought the 1x1 little feature would pop a bit more with the 3mm. And the size, I just added a few extra stitches just to compensate, just to make sure it's the same width as I would normally get. And I'm just loving it. Just reminded me, actually, I touched this cowl that's around my neck. You might be wondering what this one is. This is my Pixie Dust cowl. This was a platinum pattern earlier this year, and I knitted this using an advent calendar from last Christmas. This is the Pixie Yarns advent calendar that I used. So all 24 yarns are in this, and actually I've got Pixie Yarns advent calendar again this year because I love this so much, and it's equally as lovely this year. So I'm thinking of designing something else with the Pixie Yarns from this year, but I'll just see what happens. But this one was just a little chevron cowl that I designed, that I put out as a patron pattern this year. So yeah, I'm loving my cowl, and I keep calling this just...
Not that. That would be hard to put on the top of a pattern.
Allergies.
Yeah, I know.
Allergies are killing me.
It's been a disaster the last few days.
I don't know why, because why would you get allergies in the winter?
I know people do suffer.
Well, I know that as well, because I know our friend Jen she's doing a Vlogmas, and she's mentioned a few times on there that when it rains, she gets really bad allergies. Isn't that funny?
There is a thing, I've read about this recently somewhere. When it rains, something gets released from the plants. So that's going to be what it is. I think it was in a book that I read that was sort of telling you how to read lichens and read the sky. You could look at the clouds and work out if it was going to rain.
So why would we be having allergy problems like in the depths of winter? It seems a bit bizarre, doesn't it? But we really have been suffering.
Ours, we're convinced, is just related to central heating.
We think it's dust. The central heating and kicking up dust and things. Yeah. And, no matter how much you dust, you just can't avoid it, can you?
No.
So, yes, what am I, sort of more than halfway through with this now. Really, really enjoying it. And I've just kind of struggled to keep up.
Were you about to say what you were thinking you were going to call it?
Oh, yeah. I'm just sort of, at the minute, I'm just calling it my Advent Cowl. Oh. But I suppose it should be the Elfreda Cowl, shouldn't it?
Everyone's wishing I hadn't reminded you now. They were expecting
some amazing name. That didn't happen, did it?
Whoops.
It should be the Elfreda Cowl, shouldn't it? To go with the Elfreda Socks. That makes sense. And then they're a nice little pair, aren't they? I love Elfreda. If you've ever read Winter Solstice, I just feel like Elfreda's like a friend, and she's real, and I would get on with her really well. She's so cool. I would love to sit and have a cup of tea and a conversation with Elfreda. She's so funny and just really friendly and chatty and lovely. Yeah, so I'm going to carry on with this. Hopefully I'll be able to keep up with it. I've fell behind a couple of days. I've just struggled to, you've got to judge it for yourself, haven't you? I've seen people that are doing loads of Advent knits. They've got 4 or 5 different things on the go, and I just haven't got the capacity to keep up with that every single day, And if I fall behind, I get stressed, and I'm like, oh, that means tomorrow I've got 2 to do, and I couldn't even get 1 done today, so how am I going to do 2 days tomorrow? Those kinds of things. So it's a good lesson to know going forward, that I think in future I'll maybe just do a pair of socks because I can comfortably get those done in a day without it sort of impacting on everything else that I've got to do in the day. So I'm going to do my absolute best to keep up with this for the rest of the month.
Hey, look, as it's Christmas,
Yes.
look, there's not much to see, but some of you may have been noticing. This isn't really a what's on your needles, because I'm embarrassed about the progress. But I promise you, I've been knitting on this absolutely loads, and there just might be some people out there, just because I haven't had time. There's not been space for a self-contained knitter because of the advent calendar.
Yeah.
Because every day's taken up with gorgeous festive frivolities. This is the progress. Look!
But look,
I'm working so hard.
Any progress is progress, isn't it?
I'm not joking. Every single day.
I think once you get into the colour work, it will go quicker.
Well, it may do, but there's 310 stitches on every round.
Yeah, that's a lot, isn't it? And knit one, purl one for 310 stitches when you're not the fastest knitter. It's a lot of work.
I feel perfectly comfortable and happy with where I'm at. And, look, while I'm talking about it, I've got to say, the Smith and
oh, are you liking it?
Jameson.
Smith and Jameson. Wrong way around.
It's really great stuff. It is like a more refined version of Let Lopey. That's how it sort of feels.
Softer than Let Lopey, I know that.
Yes, it's definitely a little bit softer.
It's definitely softer. It doesn't have those really long...
No, it doesn't. It still feels, to my hand, this still feels quite toothy.
It is toothy. It's definitely toothy.
So I think that's why I think definitely it's just like a more refined Let Lopey. And that, to me, says if you're a Let Lopey knitter and you're maybe wanting to knit something a little bit smaller, you probably know this already, but it's such a learning curve and it's so exciting for me to be able to go, oh, right, okay, so now I know, Jameson and Smith, absolutely for anything that's, a bit more sort of fingering. Do they do thicker weights?
They do, I believe, yeah.
I mean, that might be fun to try.
I don't know whether they do like a DK, but I think I've seen an Aran weight.
That really might be fun to try, the more I think about that.
Yeah, there might be an Aran weight, I think.
I mean, I wonder if I could find something for me.
I'll have a look into it for you. I mean, there might be something comparable, because I think Let Lopey is classed as an Aran weight, isn't it?
Right. Oh,
I think.
See, I'm getting excited now.
Or is it worsted? I forget. But it may be that there's a comparison for it. Well, I'll have a look for you. I wouldn't imagine there's as many colours as there is in this, because there's so many colours in this Jameson and Smith. It's light as a feather. It doesn't weigh anything. It's amazing.
It really is amazing. I think that's another reason why it's sort of... And do you know what? It's very bouncy.
It's very bouncy. I mean, I think these are 25-gram balls. The yardage is covered over with a sticker. Is it on that one? No. Yeah, 25 grams. You get 125 yards. So that just shows you, doesn't it? And it's sort of like I think it's a true 4-ply, what I would call a 4-ply.
Right.
A bit thicker than a fingering weight.
Right.
Yeah. Lovely
yeah,
stuff.
So, I mean, highly recommended. And it's the Roosty
tank top.
Roosty tank top is what I'm knitting, but there's not really much point in me telling you what it is at the moment, because it's not like you could look... Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Oh, it's gorgeous. I must admit that. It's going to be gorgeous.
It is going to be gorgeous.
And, the really exciting elements of it are, of course, as we mentioned the first time we showed this, which I think is a couple of episodes ago now, but the armholes and the neck hole is steeked.
Steeked, which I think is the thing, it's the way that most... Fair Isle tank tops are constructed, so we're just going for it, and
we are. And when we steeked before, we weren't really using the right type of yarn.
No, we weren't.
We weren't.
But I'm still going to reinforce the steeks, though. I'm not going to.
Right.
I'll be belt and braces.
Yeah.
You don't know what I'm talking about, do you?
Of course I know.
Oh, okay.
What do you mean?
I don't know.
Sewing up and down the sides.
Yeah. Last time I did it on the sewing machine.
You did,
didn't I?
But that's so big because it was such a long run.
It was that huge cardigan, wasn't it? But this would be easier because it's going to be a smaller item. And I think what I did was I set the sewing machine to a really long stitch, to the longest stitch length.
Yeah.
I think that's what I did. But you can also do it with a crochet hook.
Right. It'd be interesting to do some research though into what people normally do.
Yeah, I mean, what do you normally do? Comment and let us know. Do you crochet reinforced, or do you machine reinforced?
Or have you knitted with Jameson and Smith?
Did you have to reinforce it?
And have you not reinforced, and have you just gone ahead and cut?
And cut.
And how scared were you the first time you cut it?
I don't know. Just thinking of it makes me a bit jittery.
It's true, but actually, when I consider the amount of stitches that are going to go into this.
Yeah, I know.
That then changes my perspective.
I think we're going to have to reinforce.
Well, it depends.
I don't think we can do it without reinforcing.
If someone comes and says, look, I've knitted 50 of these with Jameson and Smith.
And never reinforced
I think
it once. I'd probably still reinforce.
I've just cut it straight up the middle and it's worked. You'd be crazy.
Well, we won't be cutting up the middle, will we?
No.
It's just the neck and the arms.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun, isn't it? How exciting is 2023 going to be with the steeking of the roosty?
If you get to that point. Do you think you're going to get to that point by the end of next year?
Yes.
Right, okay, let's see, shall we?
If I had a glove on, I would throw it down in front of you. Where does that come from?
Throwing down the gauntlet.
I mean, how silly.
Well, it's a gauntlet, so it's got to be like from ancient times, as Bethany would say.
Hey, actually, we must just say, we've watched quite a lot of Bethany Hughes recently.
We have, yeah.
And we watch because we're entertained by the way she presents, which is interesting to say the least.
It is, yeah.
We've just started watching a Michael Palin programme, Michael Palin in Iraq. And I have to say, and I said to you when we were watching
amazing.
I've learned more and enjoyed this more than any of Bethany Hughes' programmes that we've watched.
Absolutely have. And he's an elderly man now. And he said himself, didn't he, that he'd had some heart surgery a couple of years beforehand, and he'd asked his doctor if it'd be all right for him to go to Iraq.
The way he goes about his business is just tremendous. You know, he befriends people without them realising what he's doing.
Yeah.
Just by the way he puts himself across.
Can talk to anybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think one of the reasons why we were so drawn to those Bethany Hughes programmes is because she just seems awkward.
She does seem a bit awkward. I really like her.
I'm sure she's a lovely person.
I'm sure she is a lovely person. You know, we've watched everything that that we can find that she's put out.
We have sort of watched it because there was a bit of the Jane McDonald's about it.
There was a little bit of that, yeah. It is sometimes a bit like, oh, don't say that. Why are you saying that? You know. But Michael Palin is just amazing. And Iraq looks like the most beautiful place.
I mean,
do you know, that's what's so interesting. You know, he never goes to typical places, Michael Palin. He always goes to
North Korea.
Yeah, I think he did Korea recently as well. Yeah, North Korea. But I think it just shows the country for truly what the actual country is.
It does, and this picks up on that book that I read that I've spoken about. You know, the book that was about Afghanistan and how you perceive it in one way because of how it's been reported in recent news.
Because of the troubles.
And when you actually look at it and you look at the country as a whole, you realise that it is the most fascinating place. And Iraq fits this.
Yeah, a beautiful country, and the people all seem lovely. You know, the loveliest people.
We've seen countless programmes where people have said that Iraqi people are lovely. Really, really tremendous.
And I think it's such a shame, isn't it, that it's got such bad press. Yeah.
Look, the cattle are lowing.
Yes.
The stockings are hung by the chimney.
No, you've lost it. The
stockings are hung by the chimney with care.
Care, that's it.
Yes.
With hopes that St. Nicholas soon will be there.
Yes.
I got it.
Yes.
I know one line from it.
Yes. And so the stockings are hung by the fireplace with care. And we're most certainly ready for a long winter's nap.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because that's in the night before Christmas, isn't it?
Yes.
But there is one thing missing. Because this Christmas, I want a wreath for my front door, and I want a gorgeous centrepiece that I can gorge myself on and not worry about when I've finished. So there's only one thing for it. We need a brand new episode of Kay's Handmade Christmas.
everybody to Kay's Handmade Christmas. This is a one-off special for this festive time of the year. Now today we are going to be creating two different Christmassy type things. The first is a foodie thing, so we're going to be cooking something, and then the second is a more sort of creative crafty thing. So the thing we're going to be cooking, I'm really excited about this because this is a savoury dish. Now I would have expected people to think, oh, you know, it's Kay, she'll be baking something. No, we're actually going to be making like a main meal, really, is what it is. Now this is something that I've wanted to cook for years and years and years. I've seen it it's from Delia's Christmas, if anybody has got that book, but you can also get the recipe very easily online. And every time I've seen this recipe, I've thought, oh, that sounds absolutely delicious. So this is the year that we're going to make it. Now it's a vegetarian dish, but even if you're not vegetarian, you will absolutely love this. You know, we're not vegetarian, and to be honest, I would happily eat this for my Christmas dinner. And the name of the dish, it's got a big long title in Delia, but basically it's a parsnip roulade with sage and onion stuffing. It's a bit like a souffle that you make into imagine like a Swiss roll. It looks kind of like that, but it's savoury, and it's like I say, it's like a souffle is what the sort of basis of the roulade is. There's parsnips in there, and then we also do a sage and onion stuffing, and it's all put together, and it's just fabulous. It's so delicious. When I first made this, we tried it, and I took a piece up to Dan, and he ate it, and then for lunch, it was around about lunchtime, and we had some for lunch, but then Dan finished the whole thing for lunch. It's really, really yummy. So you can have this as your main Christmas dinner. You know, if you've got a vegetarian in the family, or you just want to try something a bit different, it's truly absolutely delicious. And we just ate it with we just had it with lunch, you know, as a main meal. You know, you could very well have it with the gravy, with the cranberry sauce, with all the other veg that you have, and it would be absolutely fabulous. So that's what we're going to be actually cooking. And then as a complete contrast, we're going to do a bit of foraging out in the big wide world, and we're going to make a woodland wreath. So yeah, we're going to go outside, we're going to gather some supplies, and we're going to make a wreath for, you know, your front door or in your garden or wherever you would like to put it. Now the cooking I've done before, the wreath I have not. So we thought it might be fun, instead of me sort of, you know, practicing and getting fully ready, I thought to myself, well, do you know what? A lot of people have probably not done this. So wouldn't it be fun if you just watch me having never done this? And let's just see what happens. So I think that's going to be super fun. So that's the two things that we're going to be making today. And the first thing that we've got to do is we've got to get on some warm clothes because it's super cold today. And we've got to get out in the woods and do a bit of foraging. So before we make our gorgeous wreath, we've got some cooking to do. Okay, so what we're going to need to make our delicious roulade. So first of all, we've got parsnips, which are over here. They're partly peeled, but I'm going to peel those fully shortly. We've then got 3 eggs, and these are separated into the whites and the yolks. We've got some cheddar cheese, At the back here we've got flour. Now, as always, I'm going to use spelt flour, white spelt flour. It's absolutely not essential. You can just use normal white plain flour. We've got sage over there, which is dried. Now, some herbs I like dried and some I prefer fresh. When it comes to sage, I actually prefer it dried. We've then got some nutmeg, butter, seasoning at the back, which for me is just salt. Now, everyone else probably in the world would use pepper as well. I have an aversion to pepper, so I'm not putting pepper in. So whenever I say we're going to season it, obviously put pepper in if you want to. I've then got some double cream, and I'm also going to be using some milk, but that's just in the fridge. We've got parmesan here as well, so we've got cheddar and then we've got parmesan. Some fresh parsley. Now, this is a herb that I prefer fresh. I think dried parsley doesn't really taste like parsley at all, so I've got some fresh parsley there. And then onions chopped up quite finely. And lastly, some fresh white breadcrumbs. Again, I've used a spelt loaf that I made myself, and then I've breadcrumbed it. You don't have to use spelt, obviously, you can just use any white loaf and then make yourself some breadcrumbs. It should be fresh breadcrumbs though, not those ones that you can buy like in a tub from the supermarket. So that's all of the ingredients. Let's now have a look at the cooking utensils we're going to need. First of all, we're going to need a tin to cook our roulade in. Now, this should be a kind of standard Swiss roll tin. I think they're classed as a Swiss roll tin. It's about 30 centimetres by 20 centimetres, and you should line it with either foil, which is what I've done, or baking parchment, up to you, whichever you've got in is fine. A good saucepan and a steamer. And then we're going to need well, you don't need an electric beater. We need to beat up some egg whites. So you can do it by hand with a balloon whisk, but it's much quicker if you've got an electric method. Then we're also going to need a balloon whisk for something else, and then just like wooden spoon, knife, and then some weighing scales at the back. So that's everything we're going to need. It's time now to get cooking. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is to make the sage and onion stuffing. So in my pan, I've got some butter, which is just melting. Now, the official recipe of Delia's says to use 40 grams of butter. I always find that too much, it's just too heavy for us. So I've reduced that down to about 25 grams, and it works perfectly fine. So that's just melting away nicely. And into the butter, I'm going to add my chopped onions. So just give those a stir and let that butter finish melting. And you want to cook these for around about, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 minutes, something like that, until they go translucent. You don't want any colour at all on the onions, you just want them to cook through. So as soon as they get to that sort of translucent stage, then they are done. Okay, so the onions have had their 5 or 6 minutes, they're now translucent, lovely and cooked. So now we just need to add in the other stuffing ingredients, which are our herbs, which for me is the sage, the dried sage. And I put in about a teaspoon of dried sage. If you were using fresh sage, you'd want about a tablespoon of fresh sage. I've then got my parsley, and fresh you want about a tablespoon, which I suppose is a good sort of pinch like that. A little bit of seasoning, so for me that's just salt, and then the breadcrumbs. So what will happen now is all of that butter will absorb the breadcrumbs, so keep stirring until you can't see any butter any longer on the bottom, and everything looks kind of like it's got a coating of the butter. So that's it all mixed in. We now need to bring in our tray, and all we're going to do is tip all the stuffing into the tray. It'll come out cleanly, you should have nothing really left in the pan, and then spread it all out. And it already looks delicious. This stuffing is so nice, honestly. If you're not a fan of meat-based stuffings, and I always find those a bit heavy, this one is a brilliant one. It smells absolutely amazing, and with a roast chicken dinner, it's brilliant, or sausages even. And this will become the stuffing of our roulade. I know at the moment it's on the outside, but it will be on the inside. Okay, perfect. So now I'm going to set this to one side and we are going to make the roulade. We are back to the saucepan and I've got, as you can see, 275 mils. Oh, I've just touched it so it went up, but there's 275 mils of milk in here, and it should be cold milk from the fridge. I'm going to put my flour in. So I just zeroise it, change it to grams, and then pop in my 25 grams of flour. Yep, there we go. Oh no, it's changed its mind. Put in a tiny spot. Oh no, it is 25. So, oh gosh, look at that. Right, it's going to have a tiny bit more. There we are. And then the butter. So zeroise it again. Now, the recipe calls for 40 grams of butter for this. I'm going to reduce that just a little bit to 30. Okay, so now that needs to go onto the heat, and we need a balloon whisk, and we need to go in and just start whisking. Now don't worry that we've put just flour into a liquid there. It won't go lumpy or anything like that because we've got a fat as well. So as the butter melts in the heat, the butter and the flour kind of work together, and that's what's going to thicken this sauce. So it's kind of like a bechamel that we're making effectively. So just keep going with your balloon whisk until your butter has melted and it starts to kind of just come to simmering point. So you can see the butter has all started to melt. So stay with it, don't sort of walk away and leave it and come back, because whenever you've got sort of a milk thing going on, it can very easily catch. So the butter's melted now, so we just now need to bring it up to temperature and keep whisking it, and as it heats up, it'll start to thicken. Okay, so this is now thickened up really nicely, and it's just coming up to that sort of simmering point. So now you want to turn it down really low, its lowest setting, and just let it cook for about 3 minutes. I'm going to add a little bit of seasoning at this point, not too much salt because we're going to add some cheese. So the reason we're just going to let it cook for about 2 or 3 minutes is because we want to cook out that flavour of the flour. Okay, so the first thing I'm just going to tell you is that I've preheated my oven at this stage to 185 degrees C. Now, the oven temperature, if you look at the recipe, it says 200 degrees C. Now, I have cooked this before and I found that to be too hot. I found that the roulade was sort of really brown on top and it wasn't quite cooked in the middle. So I'm reducing my oven temperature. Now, it could just be it's my oven, I've got a fan oven, but I just wanted to tell you that that's what I'm doing. So I'm preheating to 185 degrees C. So I've got my bechamel, I suppose it is at this point, which is now off the heat. And what I'm going to do first of all is add in my egg yolks, which I've just given a quick beat, and just beat them, you know, mix them in really well as they go in. Just make sure they're all beaten in. And then we need to add in our cheese. This is our cheddar cheese. So pop that in. And then also some more sage. I'm going to put in about a flat teaspoon. And then give all that a really good mix. There we go. So now it's time for the egg whites. So what I've done with my egg whites is I've beaten them up until they're at that soft peak stage. So you can see there's just that bit of movement, but we've got soft peaks there. So first of all, I'm going to just pop in just a sort of spoonful. I've got a really nice big metal spoon here. It should be a metal spoon.
just pop that into your mixture and just give it a normal stir, just to sort of slacken off the mixture and to get the egg white going in. So you can just stir that in effectively. But now what I'm going to do after that is in is I'm going to add my egg whites, a spoonful at a time, but fold them in this time because we want to maintain that air. When that spoonful is in, go back in, grab another spoonful and just keep going until you've folded in all of your egg whites. Okay, so that's ready now, so we need to bring in our stuffing. And I'm going to spoon the mixture all over the stuffing. So I kind of just drop it gently on so it doesn't disturb the stuffing too much. Okay, and then just use your spoon just to gently push it all the way over to the edges. And then I'm going to pop it in my oven, and it'll need about 20 to 25 minutes. Keep an eye on it. If you think it's browning too quickly on top, just knock your oven temperature down a little bit. It will puff up and it will go quite brown on top. That is normal, but you obviously don't want it to burn. So in the oven, 20 to 25 minutes. Okay, so our roulade is just in the oven. So what you need to do whilst it's cooking is put your parsnips onto steam. So I've just peeled them, chopped them up, and they're in the steamer because we want those to cook, and we're going to mash them. So we'll do that as soon as they're cooked. So pop them in the steamer. I would say use a steamer if you really can. I wouldn't boil them because you don't want them to absorb a lot of water. So that's the end of part one. And when we come back, we are going to be making our fantastic wreath, and then we're going to be taking our roulade out of the oven, we're going to be putting it all together, and we're going to be tasting it. So I'll see you back soon.
Now I'm really feeling festive. Oh my goodness. Kay out in the woods, foraging in the bushes.
Foraging I was.
And wait until you smell your kitchen when you cook that roulade.
Oh, let me tell you.
Wait till you see it when it comes out of the oven. You're not going to believe it. You'll see why I ate the lot in less than an hour and a half.
It's so yummy.
It's so beyond yummy. Delicious. But my goodness, I can't wait to see you make that wreath.
Yes.
With all those bits and pieces that you collected.
I know, and I gathered lots of little bug-like friends on the way, which was fun.
She even got bitten by a few.
I did get bitten. I had a great big bite on the back of my head. I was like, what is that on the back of my head?
But thankfully, because it's winter, they're desperate to get to light, aren't they? So they were all like, they flew straight to the window.
Yeah,
they were trying to get out of the window.
Them
so
up.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Wreath making to come, second part. You don't want to miss it. It's just amazing. It looks so gorgeous, and I had no idea how to do it. And now I know.
Neither did I. I'd never done it before, so it was fun.
Exciting.
Fun to discover it together.
Yes, definitely. But the roulade is the centrepiece, and my goodness, just wait. Gorgeousness.
Waitrose have got nothing on that roulade, let me tell you.
I bet they have.
I watched Waitrose at Christmas this morning. I think it was on Channel 4. It's marvellous. We love Waitrose.
Yes.
It all looked delicious.
I don't know if we told you, but when we went on holiday this year, there was a Waitrose nearby the cottage where we were staying, and when we walked into it, we walked in, and I walked into the middle of it, and our daughter Bryony and Kate turns to me and said, what? And I said, it's just like I dreamed it.
You did, and we was... Bryony was mortified. She was stood there going, oh, God.
It was really funny.
But it was beautiful and amazing. And yes, all right, they're expensive. But you know what? We were on holiday.
And also as well, the checkout guy was just amazing.
Amazing. He was the most adorable, fantastic checkout guy we've ever seen. Bryony was in love with him.
To be fair, when we went back the next time, the lady was also very nice too.
Yes, she was.
So,
yeah, she was.
Great.
All the staff were lovely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look, my goodness, that's all to come. What am I saying? That's all to come.
No.
The wreath,
yes,
and the roulade are all to come
yes.
later on in the show. Because right now, it's time for Kay to say,
Dan Jones.
Yes.
What's off your needles?
Well, oh my goodness, I've only gone and finished a jumper.
Look at this.
Oh, look at it. It's gorgeous.
I just said to Danny, "You're going to put it on." He said, "Are you mad?"
Not inside. I mean, look at that yoke. I mean, that really is pretty stunning.
It is.
And what really makes it, you know...
I love the sea wavy bit here.
People have said that they thought they looked Roman and also a bit Greek. Yes. And then, you know, it was Kay's idea to put in a pop of colour in the middle.
Yeah.
And then it was my idea to mess it up and use the wrong yarn above.
Yes, yes.
But I'm so glad I did.
But actually it looks great because it does look intentional because the green is underneath it.
And I think as well, because of the grey bit then coming in up the top, that then frames it.
Yeah, it does, top and bottom.
It sort of makes it artistically sound.
And we've got, oh no, it's not that one. Oh, listen to him. And we've got your one yes. trendy cuff.
Yes.
Which is lovely, isn't it?
Yes, it's your choice, of course. You could choose to knit this and you could choose to put cuff both sides.
Yeah, yeah.
But I decided to just do one side.
Because the dude in the photo looked like the coolest dude ever.
Yeah, he did.
And he just had one cuff.
Yeah. So I've had this on.
You have?
Oh.
Fits perfect.
Look, I'll cover this. There will be, and it will start the first of a regular run again of the self-contained knit. It's coming the first week in January.
Yeah.
And I'll cover in length the finishing off of this project. But all I shall tell you here, ladies and gentlemen, is I did the underarms all on my own.
I absolutely did.
So we've said through the course...
I didn't have to do it.
Yes, we've said through the course of 2022, Ridari, you assisted. Alexander, you did one, I did the other.
Yeah, correct.
I took a video too.
Yeah.
I referred to said video and finished it off on my own.
You did.
And it really was just tremendous. I mean, the underarms were great. Also did all the ends on my own.
Yeah.
Listen to me. I sound like I'm 5.
The only thing I did was I bound off the neck.
Because I'm not very good at loose bind-offs.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that it was a nice stretchy bind-off.
For those of you who don't know, I'm sure that you do know, but I obviously knitted this with Letalopi.
Yeah.
And the Rough Sea.
Rough Sea is the main colour.
And then I can't really remember the other ones.
No, I can't either.
But it's a grey, the sort of light grey, and then a sort of lovely.
I think the green. No, seafoam's not that colour. Listen to him trying to seafoam. No, got me saying seafoam. The green, I think, is something like lime grass. I think it was.
Yes, I think that might be right.
Yeah.
Loved it though, just gorgeous. Now, you can't try and sneak that in as a finished object.
Well, I'm going to, but I do have a couple of finished things that you're going to pop in a photo of.
Kay Jones, what was off your needles?
So I spent a few days knitting a couple of my whippy wash mitts. I just suddenly had a feeling I needed to knit a couple of wash mitts for Nana Wendy, because they both actually, Nana Wendy and Grandpa Steve, love these. I've made them before. What I did do this time was I changed the stitch patterns in the sort of body of the mitt just to make it a bit more interesting for me, you know. I just thought, I'll put that in there and I'll put that in there just to give it a bit of variety. So that's the only thing I changed, just added in a little different stitch pattern, and I used those little what are they called? Rikorami, I think they're called. But the ones I used have glitter in. So they're little like 25 gram balls of DK cotton. And I used those for the wash mitts. So yeah, lovely little project. But it did take me a few days to get them done. So that's really what affected me getting, I think, a little bit behind with my advents. But yeah. All done and posted, and hopefully they will get there before Christmas if the strikes don't stop it.
Can I just say how much I do love a post office at Christmas?
Well,
I do. It's full of
we don't have post offices anymore, darling.
The rare post office counter that you find inside a shop which is what we did.
We did, yes,
So
that's true.
We found our local.
It's the most local to us now.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's full of people, all with like joy in their hearts, with packages.
Do you think those people are joy in their hearts?
Yes. Including that man who had the coughing fit.
Yeah,
Yes.
I know.
And the one who started doing stretches. I whispered to Kate.
People are weird, aren't they?
I don't think you should come in here on your own. I want to come with you always. She said, why is that? And then the man in front started doing this.
He did.
And I said,
what's he
that's
doing?
why.
What's he doing?
He's got cramp. Stood in the queue so long. He really wasn't. It was perfectly fine. I've got to say, you know, the people in there, I think they're fine.
Yeah, I've been in a
Nice
few
little
times
shop.
now. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's actually a post office within a shop, which is pretty much I think what they all are now. But it's a proper post office counter, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think one of the women that was serving there actually worked within the shop, but the other woman, I think she had like post office uniform on. So yeah.
Amazing. So just, you know,
Yes.
if you want to be full of Christmas cheer, and I'm serious now.
Go in a post office.
Because it is full of people. Oh, Cyprus first class, please. And then, you know, the people at the front looked like there was some sort of, I reckon, did you see them with all the boxes?
Yeah, I did.
I think they must have some sort of business they run from home.
I reckon.
Clearly those were gifts going off out to people. It's just lovely. It's like full of, you know, festive
It's
cheer.
really nice that you view it like that. Yeah, it's a very positive thing. Yeah.
Sunny disposition, that's me.
Yes, that's not me. Anyway.
Except when I'm on the school run. No.
Yeah.
I always have a sunny disposition on the school run.
People seem to lose their minds and the ability to think when they drive near a school.
I know, which is funny.
I don't know
because there's
what
children
happens.
everywhere. It's crazy, the things that I see.
People lose the ability to know how to drive.
I'm the guy always waving people through.
And, you know, when I do the school run as well, I just sort of sit back. And
She needs Valium when she gets back.
I do. Let me tell you, my car's only little. And when I say little, right, my car is an original small car. Not the small cars that you get nowadays, which aren't small.
No.
They're massive.
Yeah.
Mine's a 25, 26-year-old small car.
Yeah.
But still, I sit there and I just wait. And I'm not going. I said to Bryony, look, we'll just wait a minute and let all these people just beep the horns and... Right, so yes, I have got a finished thing here. However, I didn't knit them. These were a gift that I received this past week, and I just had to show you because they're so amazing. Look at these socks. Are these not fantastic? There's two.
Look at those Christmas puddings.
There's two there. Look,
I mean,
aren't they just fantastic?
They are literally
Look at that.
Amazing.
There's a bit of colour work down by this toe as well.
Just stunning.
These were knitted for me by my lovely friend, and
such amazing work.
The pattern is called the Christmas Pudding Socks,
right?
And it's by Stone Knits,
right?
You can get it on Ravelry. I'm not sure if you can get it anywhere else, but it's certainly on Ravelry. And I think the yarn she used, I had a look on her project page because she's knit quite a few pairs of these. I've seen her knitting them through the year, and thought how lovely they were. But I think it's Regia that she's used. It's a nice. Proper sock yarn. It feels lovely. So I wanted to show them to you before they go on my feet. Aren't they gorgeous?
Gorgeous.
Yes.
And that, I think, puddings,
yes,
food, roulade in the oven. We need to head back, don't we, before it burns?
We do.
We need to make ourselves a wreath and then give it a try. So let's enjoy the second part of Kay's Handmade Christmas.
To part 2 of Kay's Handmade Christmas when I can't get my glove on. So our roulade is cooking away. So whilst that is all happening, it's a great time to put our wreath together. So what I've got here is all of the gatherings from our little forage, and basically what you want is just a bunch of evergreen foliage. So anything that was evergreen, that's what I've gone for. So I've got two different types of like fir. I've got a little sort of short, these are not leaves, are they? Whatever these are. Little short version, and then I've got some that's more, you can see it's got really long needles for a bit of variety. I've got some of this, I don't know what this plant is. but I've got some of this because it's a really nice bright green against the dark of the fur. I've got some ivy, and I found some ivy that's got the berries on, which is absolutely fabulous. And then I've also got some sort of thin-leafed evergreen thing. Again, I don't know what this is. And then holly. We did manage to find some holly with berries on. I've got a few pine cones. And then the last thing I just saw, I can't remember what this plant is called, but it's the one that in winter the stems go bright red, and you can always get it. You can also get it in like oranges and sort of golds. And I thought, oh, I'll just have a few of those because it might be that that colour will be really good somewhere within it. So we'll see how it goes. So I've got my wreath as well, my ring. Now this, you can get these in different sizes. This one is 14 inches, which I think is a nice sort of size for a front door, or you know, hanging up wherever you want to really. But this, I've got this is metal. And then the only other thing you need is some floristry wire. This is some green floristry wire. You can easily pick this up in either sort of garden centres or on Amazon if you wanted to do that. So some green floristry wire, and I've got my secateurs as well because we'll probably have to do a little bit of trimming. So what I wanted to say about gathering your greenery for this is that your first port of call for finding anything for your wreath would be your garden. You know, if you've got a big garden with loads of evergreens in it, then head out into your garden and take some trimmings. If you haven't, it may be that a friend or a member of your family has got a really good garden that you can go and just have a little forage in. Now, failing that, I actually checked this out, and in this country, the Countryside Act says that you can actually forage on common ground for greenery for a Christmas wreath for your own use. So if you're just making one like I am, then you can go on common land and just gather a few bits. That's absolutely fine. What I would say is if you're unsure about whether you're allowed to do it, then just check locally with your council or, you know, whatever your local area is. And like I say, as long as you're just foraging for your own use, you're fine in this country, but do check locally before you do that. Okay, so I've got my wreath, and basically what we're going to do is we're going to make like little bunches of greenery. I'm going to take a bit from here and a bit from here, and then we're going to wrap those bunches around, and we're going to go all the way around the wreath. That's the sort of basis. So the first thing we need to do is anchor our floristry wire on the wreath. Now we're not ever going to cut this whilst we're making the wreath. It's just going to be one continuous sort of attachment of all of the greenery. So we need to just anchor it, and I'm going to do that just by wrapping it a few times around the wreath. Okay, so that's anchored nicely. So we now need to make our first little bunch. So I'm going to put my gardening gloves on, just because the holly is obviously quite spiky, and also it can be a bit sappy. So you don't want to get the sap on your hands because you never know how you might react to it. So I'm just going to go in and start grabbing bits of greenery. So let's start with that. And if sort of the leaves are a bit low down, I'm just going to pull those off. So I'm just going to check the size. So just go in and grab another bit. So let's have a bit of fur now. And if you think there's too much, just sort of pull off or snip off if you can't pull off. And let's have a little bit of holly in there too. I'm just going to trim this holly a little bit because we don't need the leaves that are right down at the bottom there. Okay, so that's our first little bunch. So I'm going to go to my wreath and then just sort of grab it like that. I mean, decide what orientation you want it to go. That looks good. Yeah, and then just wrap it quite tightly. Don't wrap your glove at the same time. There we go. Okay, so that's our first little bundle. So now I'm going to do another one, and what we're going to do is we're going to place sort of one to the left and then the next one to the right, so that we get a nice even spread of all your greenery. So I'm going to go in and make another little bundle. This ivy is so lovely with the berries. And let's have a bit of the longer stemmed fir. That's lovely, isn't it? That looks nice. So again, this time I'm going to place it down kind of to the left like that and give that a wrap. So I'm now just going to carry on going all the way around, putting my little bundles left and right until we get back to almost the beginning. So I'll go all the way around and I'll see you back there. Okay, so I've gone all the way around and I'll hold it up. I've just got a little gap. Ooh, does it look good? Never done this before in my life. But you know, it's staying together, isn't it? So I've just got this gap at the top now, so I just think I need one more bundle. And what I'm gonna, what you can do to hang it, I think there's a couple of things. I'm just gonna hang it on a hook through the metal like that. I think that seems sensible to me. But I'm guessing you could also make a hanging loop with the wire, you know, if you wanted to do it in a different way. But I think it just makes sense just to hang it from the metal hook itself, the metal ring. So let's just pop it back down. I think I just need to make one more bundle. So I've got one piece of holly left. So I'm going to grab a bit of fir or pine or whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to pull off those holly things there that are going to prickle me. So I'll add in a bit of the long stemmed and then also some of this. And if it's really bushy like that, then just go in with your secateurs and just trim off the sort of lower bits. And if it feels too bushy, just trim a bit off. I think that looks good. And then I'm just going to go in and fill this gap. Wow, it's big, isn't it? Let me see. See, what you can do, let me just put that there, is if it looks a little bit out of proportion, something sticking out, just go in and trim it a little bit. I think that's what I meant when I said I was just going to have a little look at it, just to keep it, you know, roughly in some kind of a circle. And then if you need to sort of shove things in gaps and rearrange it a bit, then do that. So to finish off, like I said, I'm going to hang this just on the what's it called, the hoop itself. So all I'm going to do to sort of finish it off is just, what we'll do is just, it's like weaving in ends with your knitting. I'm just going to leave sort of this much, give it a trim, and then just weave it in and around. the hoop itself, just to make sure it's nice and secure. Just weave it around the hoop. So our lovely wreath is finished. It's now time to put our delicious roulade together and I get to taste it. Yay! Okay, so here's our roulade out of the oven. It's nicely browned and it's sort of, it doesn't really wobble, but you can feel it's sort of firm on top, which is brilliant. I've mashed my parsnips, so I steamed them and then I put them in a little pan. I've mashed them with a couple of tablespoons of cream, a little knob of butter and a scraping of nutmeg. So they are mashed and keeping warm. So what I need to do now is turn this out the other way. Now, I've come up with a theory of the best way of doing this. I mean, Delia just says turn it out, and what she does is she turns it out onto some chopped hazelnuts. I'm not doing the hazelnuts, but you can if you want. But I've come up with a little, hopefully, way of doing it. So I've got a bigger tray here. So I'm going to pop that on top and I'm then going to grab it and flip it. Let's hope for the best, shall we? Okay, so I'm just going to lift the tray. There we go, and it's left the roulade. So now you just need to peel off, in my case it's foil. There we go. So here's our roulade, and now I'm going to take our parsnips. So this is now the inside. So we're going to take our parsnips, which are still nice and hot, and we're going to spread them all over the stuffing. Oops, wrong end to the spatula. Oh, I've got a lump of parsnip there. I didn't mash that bit very well. We shall remove that. No one will know. I do have a bit more parsnip actually. I'm just going to, I think I ended up cooking a bit more than the 500 grams, but I'm going to pop it in because we love parsnip. I don't want to waste it. There we go. Okay, so we now need to roll it, and it rolls really well actually. So you just, if we use the foil as a help and just start it rolling at one end, it's like a Swiss roll. So turn that bit over like that and get it going, and then you just use the foil to help you roll. There we go. And we've got a beautiful roulade. So before I've fully rolled it off the foil, I'm actually going to lift it onto a plate. Okay, all done. The last thing to do is just get your parmesan that we grated and just sprinkle it over the top as a little garnish. So there we go, that's our cheese and parsnip roulade with sage and onion stuffing. So here we go then. After all that, we get to try it. Now the last thing I wanted to say about this is you can make it ahead, and then it can be fully chilled down, popped in the fridge, and then you can take it out, you know, the next day, pop it in the oven, preheated for about 40 minutes, and it'll be perfect.
So here we go. I've got it here with a bit of Delia's Christmas chutney, because I thought the two would be amazing together. Oh my goodness. It's so fantastic. I want to eat the whole thing. It's so nice. You get all of those sort of Christmassy flavours because, you know, we all have roast parsnips, don't we, at Christmas? Sage and onion always makes me think of Christmas. You've got that bit of nutmeg that's in the parsnips as well, and that gives that sort of bit of a festiveness to it. And the best thing about this, I think, is it tastes quite light. It's not overly heavy, you know, that's a cut back on the butter as well. And it tastes quite light. So I think if you did have this for your Christmas dinner, you wouldn't come away feeling like you had to lie down for 5 hours afterwards, which is not a bad thing, but yeah, it's absolutely delicious. It's so, so yummy. So I know it's a little bit of work, but honestly, it's absolutely worth it. So if you fancy giving this a go this Christmas, I would really recommend it. So we have made our wreath, we have cooked and partly eaten the delicious roulade, so all that's left for me to say is Merry Christmas, everybody. I hope whatever you are doing this festive season, you have a fantastic time, and I will see you same time next year for more Kay's Handmade Christmas.
Wasn't that wonderful? You simply have to try Parsnip Roulade.
Dan was doing the editing for it, right? And he called me over and he wanted me to look at the graphic, the lettering that he'd put up. And I just looked at it and I couldn't stop laughing. And he's like, why is this so amusing? And then I said, he'd put Parsnip. Parsnip.
I keep doing things like that. I type too fast sometimes in a letter.
It's called transposing.
Right.
I learnt to touch type when I was in sixth form at school. So I was sort of 16, 17. And I did typing as like an extra thing, and I loved it, and I got a distinction actually. I always say it's only stage 1, but I got a distinction in it, and I learned to touch type, and I use it every single day, that skill. And I could sit and type, tippy typing I call it. I could sit and tippy type all day. I love it. But if you quite often, I had this problem, and if your fingers are going faster than your brain or the other way around, and you transpose your letters, I do that quite often.
What a nightmare. Just gorgeous though.
Yes.
Wreath. Just perfect.
Brilliant.
That is the complete opposite of a wreath we saw out walking the other day. It was like nothing was real.
It was even beyond Hallmark, wasn't it?
Hallmark's sort of lovely because Hallmark mixes the natural with the...
That is true.
I do like that.
This was pink, and I love pink. It's my favourite colour. But it was massive pink baubles.
It didn't even look like a wreath.
It didn't really even look like a wreath.
It looked like a shield.
It was so big, it almost didn't have a centre bit.
Way too full.
And it was like, oh my goodness.
At Christmas, I don't think you can personally, for me, and you could totally go and do this, I'd hang off a couple of red baubles as well, and maybe I'd stick a ribbon on too.
Yes.
So you could totally do that if you wanted to.
I wanted to keep it completely natural, but absolutely you could pop in some baubles.
And let me tell you, that roulade... Oh. Look, I'm the first guy, and Kay made reference to it, I'm the first guy who, I need some meat. Well, no. Quite simply,
it's so lovely. Honestly, I think I said when I was filming it that I would happily eat that on Christmas Day.
And those changes that you made, just perfection.
Yeah, only a little tweaks. I obviously used
bit less butter, spelt flour.
I sort of more or less halved the amount of butter that the recipe recommended, and I used spelt flour. So yeah, brilliant.
And can you believe?
It's gorgeous.
That episode of Kay's Handmade Christmas concludes our featured shows of 2022.
Wow.
Already mentioned. My goodness, what a year. Started with Walking the Wall. Then we were into my favourite colourways. Yeah. Concluding now with Kay's Handmade Christmas. And whilst this moment, it can feel quite sad, can't it? Because you're like, oh, it's all over now. It's not sad at all.
Don't be sad.
And look, this really now is starting to edge into Endy Bits, because really it's at the end where we should be talking about what's coming next.
We should.
So I think it's time for the said Endy Bits.
Endy Bits.
She nearly forgot.
I know you said it in a different way.
Sorry. Look, yes, we may have concluded this year's featured shows. We may be with you today for the last time in 2022, but we're going to be back on the 6th of January.
Yes.
And when we see you on the 6th of January, we're going to hit the ground running faster than we've ever run before in the history of the Bakery Bears.
We are.
Because we will be launching Kay's brand new show, and it's a little bit special.
It is.
Because Kay loves designing blankets.
I do.
And she's designed a special one just for you.
Yeah.
Every single one of you, every viewer of the Bakery Bears, will join Kay next year for a 12-episode series where she's going to show you how to knit my favourite blanket.
My favourite blanket.
We're hoping it will be your favourite blanket,
yes.
So you'll be making a statement. This is a show with a difference, because for the first time ever, yes, there's going to be an element of dyeing yarn.
Yeah.
But that dyeing yarn will have been inspired by the outdoors.
Yes.
So this show is going to be outdoors for a bit. Kay will then show you how to dye the yarn.
Yeah.
Maybe though that you choose not to dye your yarn.
Yeah,
and
you don't have to.
You pick a yarn to use.
Yeah.
But then in the same show, she's going to sit you down and teach you how to knit this blanket from start to finish.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned at the start there, 12 episodes, which conveniently fits with the 12 months of the year.
Yes.
Now, the show's going to run a little bit quicker than that, because we're going to start the year with 2 episodes and we're going to end the year with 2 episodes. So you'll have 2 in the first month, so 2 in January, and then 2, I think, in October.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then it'll run alternately with my show,
yes.
which starts in February.
Yes.
The show is called My Favourite Blanket. The music for that show has been playing underneath as I've been talking there.
Isn't it beautiful?
Written, of course, by my amazing brother Dom, and performed too, but also there's a real cellist on there and all sorts. So to say that you're excited...
I'm so excited about this, and I've been working on this for...
a long time.
Yeah, quite a long time,
Yes.
because what I've had to do is I've had to knit through a good section of it to make sure that it's all going to work out, because there's something different about this blanket that I've never done before. I'm not going to tell you what that is, but because of that I had to knit through quite a lot of it. So that's been going on in the background the past few months, and I just want to sit and knit this blanket all day long. And I said to you, didn't I?
Yeah.
I've reached a point now where I know everything's going to be okay with it, but I just want to carry on. But I'll obviously be knitting another one from the start to the finish with you all. So each time we will dye the yarn, and we didn't say, but the yarns are inspired. Each time the yarns are inspired by a different flowering plant or perennial or tree or some sort of growing thing that flowers in that particular month. So from January through to December. So I've chosen a plant, and I wanted to choose plants that were not necessarily what you will expect, you know, something a bit unusual. And then I dye the yarn inspired by that plant. So I'll tell you a bit about the plant, why I've chosen it, I'll dye the yarn, and then we will start knitting the blanket. And it will be, you know, you'll see me in a sort of tutorial format, which is a lot of you won't have seen that before.
It's going to be the first time we've ever done that on the video show. Kay's produced over the last 5-6 years. There's well over 270 tutorials which are accessible by our Bakery Bear patrons. First time ever, we're going to share it with all of you.
Yeah.
And something that we did want to say is, while she's going to show you in the video how to knit it, there will be a pattern. It will be released in stages with each episode for our Bakery Bear patrons. Yeah. And it will be for all Bakery Bear patrons. Yeah. So if you are a Bakery Bear patron at any level, you will get a copy of that section of the pattern that corresponds with what she's taught you in the video. So while she's covering everything in the video, there will be a pattern which is accessible for just $2 a month. Yeah. So there couldn't be a more perfect time to sign up, because if you sign up now, you'll get Scrooge's stocking on Christmas Eve,
Yeah.
and then all through next year, you'll get my favourite blanket, you'll get to watch it, you'll see the tutorial,
Yeah.
and then if you want the written pattern too, you'll get that too, for $2 a month.
Yeah, I mean, all that being said, it will be, if you wanted to just, all you've got to do, it's not a difficult pattern, none of my patterns are ever difficult.
You're going to show them every stage.
I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do, and I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do. So if you're not in a position to get the written pattern, all you've got to do is just make a few notes each time. Just make a few notes as I go along and you'll be away. So super, super excited. Can't wait to get started.
Folks,
And
my
to
goodness.
knit my favourite blanket.
That, as they say, is it. It's the end of another year of Baker Bed video shows. All that's really left for us to do is to thank you all so much for watching.
Yes.
It's been absolutely wonderful
It has.
to spend this year with you.
It
And
has.
what a year we've had, haven't we? My goodness, it's been so much fun. So thank you all so much for watching.
Thank you, everybody.
And not long to wait.
No.
Until the start of our 2023 season of shows.
Yes.
And as we've said, what a start it's going to be. For those of you wondering, there's going to be people wondering when my new series begins. I did mention a little bit earlier, but it's going to be at the start of February.
Yeah.
So start of February, the rise and fall of the monasteries will also begin. But Baker Bed patrons, we're not going anywhere for you because, of course, the Advent calendar is running until the 24th of December. Kay is with you for her famous top 5 yarns of the year on the 27th.
Yeah.
There's a whole series of those which began in 2015, which you can access right now, so you can see what her previous top 5 yarns have been, and then you can see if any have made the list this year that have been on before. There's a special radio show on the 29th where we're going to be talking about a couple of absolute festive treats, a book that Kay's read and a film that we both watched that has really hit us right here. It's just been amazing. And then Kay kicks off the new year with a special episode of her design diary on the 3rd of January, and our weekly reviews and tutorials for 23 start on the 5th of January.
Wow.
And then, of course, we're here again with the video show on the 6th.
We are.
Busy, to say the least.
Yes.
Look, I hope you have a wonderful Christmas.
Have a fantastic time, everybody, whatever you are doing.
Very restful, very lovely.
Absolutely.
Recharge the batteries.
Recharging needed.
Lots of nice walks.
Yeah.
And we will see you in 2023.
We
oh my
will.
goodness.
We will.
So take care, everyone.
Have a great time.
And Merry Christmas.
Take care.
And a Happy New Year. Bye.
Who's it sitting and knitting? It's Dan and Kay, the bakery bears. Enthusiasm's not quitting for Dan and Kay, the bakery bears. They'll take you to fabulous places of which their favorites they'll share. You better buy a pattern and get yourself a bakery bear. You'll find yourself in a castle while watching the bakery bears. It never feels like a hassle to sit and watch the bakery bears. What's on your shelf or